The men at Camp Blackhawk came from a wide variety of backgrounds. Some were businessmen whose companies had gone bankrupt. Other enrollees were highly skilled professionals, such as carpenters, engineers, masons, and steam fitters.
I went into the sewer and tunnel construction business for myself under the name of the Northern Land Construction Company and later as the Arnberg Construction Company. Both companies failed in the early days of the Depression. Harold V. Arnberg.
Camp Blackhawk was unique in another important way. African American men worked and lived alongside white recruits. This was at a time when the U.S. Armed Services were still racially segregated. When camp supervisor Henry Harbeck reached the camp, he liked what he saw.
Upon our arrival, and after a hurried reconnaissance, we found Blackhawk State Park number 30 a beautifully wooded tract of forest growth, with a terrain that is most interesting because of its abrupt changes. The landscape possibilities of an area such as this must come to grow on one through association. One must come to feel at home, come to actually know the friend.
After struggling for so long to make ends meet, many of Camp Blackhawk's enrollees were more than happy to have this new friend. Each morning at 6:15, just like soldiers, the men of Company 1674 assembled for reveille. The work they were headed to was ambitious. The state of Illinois' chief draftsman, Joseph Bouton, drew up plans that included hiking trails, picnic and trail shelters, and a lodge with a museum to hold John Hallberg's Indian artifacts. The Corps also restored woodland areas by clearing dead brush and pruning trees. Native wildflowers, trees, and shrubs were planted to help return the site to its original state. And to help visitors navigate the park's 208 acres, the recruits built 4 miles of hiking trails. Steps and bridges were also added to make the park easier to get around. When enrollees took a break for dinner from their hard work, they were fed well.
Your mess kit's all you got to eat. You put that mess kit out, and the guy'd be a plop of this in it, and a plop of that, and a plop of Jell-O on top of your mashed potatoes, and one thing and another. It was all looked like a stew more than a dinner. No, but what the hell? You're not too fussy under the circumstances, because it's either eat that or nothing.
CCC camps furnished their recruits with 3 square meals a day. The average daily provisions at Camp Blackhawk included 175 pounds of potatoes, 90 pounds of bread, and 25 pounds of coffee. If the men were working far from camp, the noonday meal was brought to them.
I seldom had 3 meals a day, was lucky to get 1. I often had to swipe my grub and eat it on the run. But now these things seem long ago, the memories grow dim. It seems as though I'd never known the time when life was grim.
Still, in the summer of 1934, Camp Blackhawk, with all its modern amenities, could offer little protection from the record-breaking heat that hit the area. As temperatures climbed past 100 degrees, the digging and shoveling continued. But the heat proved too much for carpenter Henning Peterson, who collapsed outside his barracks July 22nd and died later that evening. He was 47. The War Department cut costs wherever it could, and in the requisition of building materials, the department proved quite resourceful. The lumber needed for guardrails, picnic tables, and the lodge came from trees in Rock Island's Bell Woods. The park's sod also came from Bell Woods. And the limestone for the lodge and shelters was excavated from the quarry in nearby LeClaire, Iowa. Life back at the barracks was remarkably like that of a small village. After the evening meal, recruits could relax in the mess hall and play cards and checkers, and catch a radio program or two.
Now everybody step into the elevator. Careful, up we go. Hey, wait a minute, why Why you stop between the first and second floors? I always stop between 1 and 2. That's my lunch hour. Okay, up we go.
At the other end of the mess hall, classes were taught. This was the first CCC school in the country. Even the local newspaper took notice, stating 5 teachers are in charge of courses in English, Spanish, arithmetic, algebra, Bible, forestry, and tree surgery. Recruits could do their studies in the camp library and check out books with camp library cards. And just as movies had once been shown at Watchtower Park, recruits were treated to a movie each month. The Watchtower Inn even held separate church services on Sunday, one for Catholics and one for Protestants. Enrollees could also catch professional and high school games free of charge. Or the men could start up a game of their own. Even though Company 1674 enjoyed many of the comforts of home, at this home, everyone had to retreat to their barracks at sunset. Lights out was at 10 o'clock.
For all those days are gone behind, and the future's looking bright. I'm sure of 3 square meals a day, and sure of a bed at night.